examples and examples after examples where we have seen during our professional life that the Waqf board has exercised its powers arbitrarily. That is one aspect of it. I am on a different footing. I want to today on your channel show certain provisions of law which I want to question, that how can such powers be given to the Waqf board, and whether in a secular India, whether in a constitutional democracy, is this kind of power available to any other religious denomination. Point number 1, kindly see section 4, 5 and 6 of the Waqf Act and section 8, where the Waqf board will conduct a survey after every 10 years and the expense of that survey will be borne by the state exchequer under section 8 of the Act. Then kindly see section 40 subclause 3 of the Waqf Act, where the Waqf board can declare any property as Waqf property. And let me tell you, the Taj Mahal has also been declared as Waqf property. The ASIs are under appeal in the Supreme Court, and there are so many examples. Chandrasekhar Azad Park in Allahabad, then Kashi, Mathura, Bet Dwarka, and the figures and numbers go on. Then kindly see section 54 of the Waqf Act. Under section 54 of the Waqf Act, the Waqf board can declare anybody as an encroacher of the property, and they can direct the state government to remove that encroachment. At this point of time, I want to ask a question and put a question to myself, that whether such power is there with any trust, mutt, priest, pujari, purohit or Shankaracharya. Because if someone encroaches a property of a temple, I have to fight a long battle before the civil court. Then kindly see section 89 of the Waqf Act. If you want to file a case against the Waqf board, you have to give them notice, just like parallel government under section 80 of the CPC. Then kindly see section 101 of the Waqf Act. The members of the Waqf board are treated as public servants. No pujari, purohit, Shankaracharya, Mahant in this country has ever been treated as a public servant. They are treated as public servants, and even if you touch them, it's an offence under section 21 of the IPC. Then kindly see section 107 of the Waqf Act. Waqf board, even if they dream and come to know after hundreds of years that a particular property belongs to them, there is no limitation under the Limitation Act of 1963, and at any point of time they can say that this is a Waqf property. While on the other hand, for the members of the Hindu community, there is a particular set of limitation. Now under these given of draconian powers, these things are going to happen, and many more will happen, until and unless these provisions of law which I have just told you, until unless they are declared as unconstitutional and arbitrary in violation of article 14, 21 and 300A of the Constitution, till that time this arbitrary exercise of power will go on. And Navika, let me just 10 seconds more. I want to tell you that there is a very renowned proverb in our legal circles: power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this act is a classic example of how this proverb fits into this place.
Well, I want to ask Mr. Shahid Ali, President of the